Welcome back, folks, to Two Brits, One Puck. I'm your host, Mr. Intangibles and a DIY boy, Dan Masters, with my good friend, the leader of Hockey Human Resources, and a man who once ate bat soup, Will Everett Human. Will, how you doing?
Very well, Dan. Very well. You're not the only DIY boy on the podcast this week. I put up a bit of flat pack furniture myself this week.
Oh, Big Billy IKEA coming in hot with a flat pack.
Mate. Check me out, mate. Don't worry about it.
Fantastic. I did have a different question of the week. I changed it last minute with the Leafs trade, and we had a quick discussion about this over WhatsApp today. And I said that I get annoyed because teams just want to seemingly help other teams out instead of trying to rinse them. And I said that obviously the Leafs acquire Jack Campbell, a goalie from the Kings, and Kyle Clifford for Trevor Moore and 2 picks. Third pick in 2020 and a conditional pick, which has a few things attached with it. It could become a second in 2021. I said that I believe that the Kings have just kind of come out kind of where they were already. And you said you disagree. Care to explain?
Yeah, I think that's a decent enough package for the Kings. Who do you think Kyle Clifford is?
Well, I don't think he's anyone very good, but if you know that a team is in absolute desperation for a goalie, then I would expect to get more back than Trevor Moore.
Yeah, but they're not the only team that had a goalie, and it's not like Jack Campbell's anything special either. Like, Jack Campbell is a perfectly adequate backup goalie, and Kyle Clifford is a fourth liner that makes too much money. I don't know what more you want. It's not like they're fucking giving him Igor Shesterkin or whatever, and Clayton Keller. They're not particularly good players. And I think the package they've got is decent. Like, Trevor Moore's going to be a good player. Trevor Moore's going to be better than Kyle Clifford. He's a bit older than you'd want a prospect to be, but that's just because he's a winger, and of all the teams in all the world, the Leafs are the only ones who don't need fucking wingers.
I just would have thought you would have got one of their higher end prospects, like a real prospect.
For a backup goalie in a fourth liner who makes over $1 million.
Listen, right now, I get it. He's only a backup goalie, but it's need. When you're in business, it's about need. What do you need right now? You ever seen Wolf of Wall Street? Sell me this pen. You create a market. If they've been talking about this for a few weeks, and the Leafs have known they needed a backup goalie for ages, it was pretty clear that the prices in other places were just ridiculous. Like, I know everyone was saying about, like Georgia from the Rangers, there's no way they're giving him up for anything less than a first, or a conditional first at least. I mean, they're going to want an absolute fortune for him. Other players maybe wouldn't have worked out. And it seemed like, in the end, Jack Campbell was pretty much the only kind of answer. So I would have expected a little bit more. I'm not saying it's terrible for the Kings, but I would have expected a little bit more.
I just think, like, who's to say that Georgiev wasn't on the market sort of thing? Like, it's just people on Twitter who are saying they wouldn't give him much more than the first. There are plenty of other goalies out there that could be had. It's not like the LA Kings are the only people with a goalie who's available.
I see what you're saying, but I don't know.
If it was this package for Georgiev, I'd think, well, Georgiev's a different one because, you know, both teams are in a hard place where the Leafs need a backup and the Rangers have too many goalies. But yeah, I don't think it's a bad package from either sense. Like, Trevor Moore's probably going to turn into a perfectly good third line winger as soon as right now, which is an improvement over Kyle Clifford. And Jack Campbell for a third, and okay, so
it's 2 picks. 2 picks at least.
So it's definitely a third, and then the other one's a 2021 pick that's at least a third, if not potentially a second, if either Kyle Clifford re-signs with Toronto or the Leafs make the playoffs and Jack Campbell wins 6 regular season games. The Kyle Clifford re-signing one's hard because if I'm Toronto, I just don't re-sign him if Campbell doesn't win 6 games. But yeah, you're at least looking at Trevor Moore and 2 third-round picks. Like, I don't see any problem with that for the Kings.
I suppose. I don't know. I just think the market was. I think the market was there for the Kings to do better out of that. Maybe a bit better, but I just think an extra, like a better player maybe than Trevor Moore.
I don't know, mate. We'll see what happens with Trevor Moore. I think you're underestimating how good Trevor Moore might be.
No, you could. To be fair, you could be right. That's a fair point.
And it's the one last thing I'll say on Trevor Moore is it's not strictly about, you know, he's not going to turn into a top offensive threat in the league or something, but he's going to be a good cost-controlled player who can play on your third line, maybe middle six sort of thing. And that's not bad at all, is it?
I suppose you do need those. You do need those players as well, don't you? That is
absolutely.
True.
He's going to be better than Kyle Clifford. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, you would. Well, yeah, you would hope so. Is Jack Campbell the answer to their problems? Do you think?
Oh, maybe. I don't know. Like, it's just that goaltending voodoo thing, isn't it? He's got to be better than Hutchinson, hasn't he? And in a different universe, Hutchinson would have been fine.
Hutchinson was terrible against the Panthers. Just really bad. And as soon as that game finished, I'm sure Dubas was just thinking, okay, that's it. I can't. We have to just do, whatever the price is now, we have to just do it, and that's it.
Well, the trade was made during the game, wasn't it?
Was it during the game? I thought it was straight after. Oh, crap. As he's watching the game.
If it wasn't
watching the game.
if it wasn't during the game, at least Dubas is on the phone working it out during the game.
While he's watching some play.
That first goal goes in, he's like, fuck this, let's get rid of it.
Yeah, that's it. We're done. Good stuff. Let's go on with it, shall we?
Let's smash it.
Hey everybody, it's that time of the week. It is the Smooth Recap. Don't sleep on the Toronto Maple Leafs this season, we were told. Yet, that doesn't seem to apply to Kasperi Kapanen, as he oversleeps and misses a team practice.
As Cam Talbot and Mike Smith proved this past week, goalie fights are much like offer sheets, rarely seen and rarely satisfying, as the two netminders provide his fans with the least Donny Brook known to man.
Fans of Magic in Florida rejoice, as the Panthers lead the league in hat-tricks, as Mark Pysyk scores the Cats' 5th hat-trick of the season. What a magician.
Jamie Benn has proven himself to be an absolute pillar of gentlemanly conduct after electing to play the buck instead of bludgeoning Jake Muslin's head from his shoulders during the Stars-Leaf game. Give your boy the Lady Bing immediately.
Before the season, we all expected the 2nd overall pick, like a cow with dynamite strapped to it, to explode out of the gate, but things have taken a bit longer for Capo Caco. With that said though, he now has more points than any other 18-year-old in New York Rangers history.
We finally got to see a new 50 in 50 this week, albeit not quite what fans were looking for, as Roman Josi becomes the first Predators defenseman to notch 50 points in 50 games.
Ilya Samsonov became the 3rd rookie goalie in history to win 11 games in a row. With GM's penchant for overpaying goalies, where will Braden Holt be making $10 million next year? Place your bets now.
Patrick Laine wasn't mincing words on the Dustin Byfuglien situation, pointing out that the D-man makes a lot of money, and if he doesn't want to play anymore, we could have used that for something else. I assume he's referring to the lackluster Jets Christmas party.
Rasmus Dahlin only needs 6 more points to become the 2nd highest scoring teenage defenseman in NHL history. With him and Jack Eichel on the team, surely the Sabres are real contenders.
I'd just like to close with a polite request for Tyler Seguin to start scoring some goddamn goals. Thanks mate, would really appreciate it.
And that was your Smooth Recap. Okay then, who is winning the cup?
And Dan, I made no apologies for this one. It's the new trailer for the Final Fantasy VII Remake because it looks incredible.
Yep, agreed. It's fantastic.
Mate, did you play it? I never remember whether you played the original.
I did indeed play the original,
there
though.
you go.
I was one of those boys who sat there, mouth, as they say, agog, as I played this game, realising things at the time. Oh my god, this cutscene is now playable. Oh my god, the world is bigger than I first thought, and all those things.
The thing that only really struck me today, and this is exposing just how dumb a person I am, I was thinking, if this is a success, which it undoubtedly will be, I wonder if it'll pave the way for other games to follow suit. Yeah, because obviously we've seen remasters before and sort of upscaled ports and all that stuff, but not a true ground up remaking of a 9 30-year-old game in modern graphics.
Mate, this is going to be such a success. Trust me. People of my age and younger, honestly, it's not going to break records because it's ridiculous. Nothing will beat GTA 5 as, for records. It's because that's ridiculous. But it will sell, as they say, a metric fuck ton.
I'm trying not to get too hyped up about it, but the more I see
get
it,
hype.
it just looks incredible. It looks so good. And I just think they can't mess it up. They can't.
What is kind of weird is that, like the film industry, they will recycle films. It doesn't happen that much in the gaming industry, which is kind of weird. I know it's kind of happening a bit more now, but you kind of get games like The Last of Us was remastered from PS3 to PS4, or you had GTA 5, PS3 to PS4. It's pretty rare that they just take an old game that everyone says was amazing and go, right, we're going to give it a full-on makeover, which they seem to do with films all the time. You always get remakes of films, but you don't get it of games. And I don't know why that is. I don't know if it's because the game industry would just reject it or what. I don't know. But it just surprises me that doesn't really happen.
I think it's partly because, like, IPs don't move from studio to studio very often in the same way that they do for films.
True.
And stuff like that. And there's something, like, inherently different about games versus films. Whereas the more interactive media and like the mechanics of each individual game contribute so much to what that game is, if that makes any sense.
I get it.
To overhaul it, you'd either be making the same thing that just looks a bit prettier, or you'd be changing it fundamentally so it wouldn't be a remake of the same game, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I'm just thinking about all the games I played when I was really young, like Elite and stuff like that. I mean, games that like came out in like 1985 and 86. I just think, I've said for years, like, why has nobody remade Streets of Rage? I don't know if you ever played that, but it was a side-scrolling beat 'em up.
They're bringing out a fourth one soon.
Are they really?
Yeah.
Dude, I had no idea.
I think it's
and I just thought, God, imagine like a side-scrolling beat 'em up, or like in today's market, it'd be unbelievable.
That's a genre that's sort of fallen to the wayside a bit. Your Streets of Rages, your Double Dragons.
Yeah, that is true. Final Fantasy VII is going to be amazing.
Absolutely buzzing.
Yeah.
Absolutely buzzing.
For me, winning the cup this week, it's one person winning the cup, even though he's already won the cup. But Peter Sakura got his lap with the cup 20 years later. It was the Devils' 20th anniversary night of their 1999-2000 win. Obviously, they beat the Stars, sorry to bring that up, Will. But Sakura, of course, was destroyed by Darian Hatcher in Game 6 of the finals, and he was in the hospital after the game when they'd won the cup and couldn't skate with the team, couldn't take his lap. And Larry Robinson and Patrick Elias did wear his jersey during the post-game, but he never got his chance to skate around with the cup. So it was pretty cool to see him come out. And he was the only guy, they lined up all the Devils players who could attend on the red carpet. Peter Sakura came out and got to do his lap, which was pretty cool 20 years later.
So he did a lap at the game the other day with the cup.
Yeah.
Mate, nah.
What?
That's not acceptable.
It's absolutely acceptable. You're crazy.
Nah, that's mental. That's mental. You can't be...
Dude, think about what you go through as a hockey player to get to at least even get to a cup finals. And then you get to a cup finals and you get some dirty fucking hit by some classically dirty Stars player. I mean, that's what they do, but whatever.
All the way around behind the net. Niedermeyer who can skate. Leaves it. Sakura crisscrossing, shot it in. Belfour's got to hang on. And another double down. And was that Hatcher?
Yes, it was. And Peter Sakura right now has no idea what planet he is on.
The Devils are after Hatcher, Bill.
Darian Hatcher caught him coming across, and this was a hit that was like a Scott Stevens hit. Darian Hatcher caught Peter Sakura coming across to his side with his head down and just smoked him.
It wasn't dirty at the time, though.
Yeah, it wasn't at the time. It's like assault now. Jesus, I watched it again the other day.
It's fucking disgusting. So much of the stuff
Kills
Hatcher
him.
did was
Absolutely
offensive.
kills him. I know. And that's a nice thing. Like because you can't. When can you do it again? You can't do it the year after because now it's gone. But a 20-year anniversary. That's a nice thing.
Nah, you've hit that on the head. It's gone. He should have done it. How long was Sakura injured for?
He was in the hospital when they were doing the lap with the cup. Like, what's he going to do? They're going to push his bed out onto the ice.
Well, he wasn't in the... So what? That would have been, let's say June. That would have been... He wouldn't have been in hospital in August, would he?
What's he going to do? Take it to his local rink? just skate around with it over his head with his jersey?
Or do it first game of the season next year because you're the champions. It's your cup. That's not the Devil's Cup. It shouldn't be in their building.
Wow. You call me Mr. 200 Hockey Man, and you're like, oh my God, he's not even their cup. How dare he? What a disgrace.
I'm just saying, mate. What if last year Well, no, there isn't a comparison because, like, at least in football,
Exactly.
you get a replica. You get a replica of like the Premier League trophy or the Champions League trophy or whatever. So you can just take your little fake one that you won out. There's only one Stanley Cup. Like, that's not bruv. It's not theirs. Peter Score shouldn't be touching it. Too late, mate. You missed a boat.
You're mental. I like the fact that, like, in this analogy, a Premier League player, say from the Arsenal Invincibles, who couldn't play in the final game of the season, if he wants to lift his trophy,
Perez.
he has to take a replica down to Hackney Marshes and pick it up and pretend there's like 40,000 people there.
No. That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm saying that because Arsenal have their own version of the Premier League trophy at the Emirates. So yeah, if you wanted to do like a 20-year anniversary, you could do it with the cup that you own because you won it. The whole point of the Stanley Cup is there's only one of them, so it's not theirs to win. It's not theirs to
to be fair, maybe the cup was made out of tin foil. I don't know how injured Sakura still is. It looked like the real cup, but I don't know. Maybe one of the kids made it or something.
If it was a fake one, then fair enough. But if it was a real thing, like, nah.
Get on the phone to Devil's PR team and find out. I've got a complaint to make. Was that the real cup? Because I'm very annoyed if it was.
Because it bloody well shouldn't have been. They aren't the champions. They shouldn't have the cup. The Blues should have done what the Colorado Eagles did with the Kelly Cup in the ECHL. Just fucking keep it. This is what happens.
Sakura gets his lap.
Because otherwise, jammy little fuckers are like, oh, let's just take it around our house and have a little tear with it. No, it's not your fucking cup. Did he drink out of it as well?
I don't know. I didn't see that much, but maybe he did. I hope he did now. I hope he did. I hope he got a naked stripper and sat her ass in it as well.
Well, that's
just to really annoy
Riley's cup to sit his naked ass in, not that stripper.
Fair point. Oh, dearie me. In light of you changing your relegation to Peter Sakura getting his lap with the cup.
I was going to say exactly that.
Yeah, you should have called an audible and done that. Who's getting relegated?
Well, now that you've stolen my joke, I'm going to have to go to the old plan. I feel a little bit bad about this, but not bad enough to change what I'm going to say. I'm going to directly call out Mark Lazarus, a Blackhawks beat writer for The Athletic, and he's getting relegated for saying that the Blackhawks are relevant again. Such an incredibly bad take, it's literally killing me. No, they're not relevant again. The Blackhawks are fucking shit. And they have a terribly put together roster that's just getting older and older every day of the week. If you're a few points out of a wildcard spot, you're not fucking relevant again. You're basically the Minnesota Wild. Get over it.
I just think, like, to say that a team that's won 3 cups this decade is now relevant again. Do you know what I mean? I get it.
Not this decade, mate. Last decade.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. All right.
It's
3
over.
cups in the last 10 years. To say they're relevant again is a bit. All right. Come on, mate. What are you talking about?
Yeah, but my point is, like, they're not from a competitive standpoint. They're always going to be relevant in the fact that they're like America's answer to the Leafs, basically. But yeah, from a competitive standpoint, they're still just another team in the muddy middle, at the bottom of the muddy middle at that. They're effectively the Kings, but they've got a slightly better record this year. There you go. Sorry, lads, bad takes. Get relegated on this show at least.
Indeed, we will call out people on this show, as no one else seems to. That's another burning desire for me to have a rant at some point in the future, but we'll save it for this week because we've got a lot going on.
We've got a bit to chat about. Who are you going to relegate in that case?
I'm just going to relegate hockey.
Yep, good choice. No
Yep,
questions.
it's a broad spectrum. Emerson Clark, I don't know if you know this name, Will, of the Jacksonville Icemen, has been suspended by the ECHL for 16 games. There was a fight between the Fort Wayne Comets and the Jacksonville Icemen, and Clark was being restrained by linesmen from going into a melee on Friday, and he was punished for a combination of his game misconduct, for physical abuse of officials, because obviously he was trying to get him off him, and for being a repeat offender. I'm only relegating hockey because it turns out that fighting on the ice against another man in a different jersey, that's okay. He was being restrained by a linesman. You can't really do things like that to officials. He gets 16 games. Fine. If you can cast your mind back a few weeks, Brandon Manning racially abused a player. He got 5 games. So, if
he'd have racially abused a ref, it'd have been 25 games.
Yeah. Or if maybe somebody in a striped shirt had said, you can't do that, and then he pushed him off and said, no, let me go out there, that's 10 games. But dropping racial slurs and everything is only 5 games.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
That makes complete sense.
Yeah,
obviously.
Yeah, it really does, because hockey is only a physical sport, you know. Words, sticks and stones can break my bones down, but words will never hurt me. Don't know if you've ever heard that before.
I have indeed.
It's a motto that the ECHL really takes to heart and really tries to run its entire league by.
That is the hockey motto, isn't it? Sticks and stones may break my bones. Names could not hurt me. Oh, hockey, you card.
You're absolute card.
Absolute card. All right. How many starters and scratches you got?
I've got 2 starters and 1... No, I've got no scratches because I can't use that scratch anymore.
Interesting. Okay, no scratches. There's been nothing in hockey over the past 2 weeks that's annoyed you even slightly.
Well, there's been too much is the problem. You know that episode of The Simpsons when Mr. Burns goes to the doctors? Yeah, too many things trying to get through the door. All right, I'll mention the scratch. I'll do my scratch. I've got 1 scratch. It's not even a hockey related scratch. There you go.
Fantastic. Okay. All right. So I got 3 starters, 2 scratches. So I'll go first. I'm going to start Jake Gardner, who convinced 7 of his teammates to do a polar plunge in support of raising funds for awareness of the Special Olympics. Because
excellent.
Jake Gardner has a brother-in-law, Sam Cashin, who is a competitor at the Special Olympics. So Jake and 7 of the other Hurricanes dove into an icy, well, I wouldn't say icy, but a freezing, bloody cold body of water when it was 40 degrees outside. And as somebody who's done raft building in March and then decided to jump in the water, with a wetsuit on mind, I can tell you that doing it in just your shorts takes balls of steel. And a good cause, so well done to Jake Gardner.
Power to him. Just speaking of disabled athletes, did you see that photo of the football on crutches? Did you see that photo the other day?
No.
I don't know how new it was at all. I forget what brought it up anyway, but it's football on crutches. So I only saw the 2 players in the photo, but they each have 1 leg. And there's a player in blue coming down the wing, got the ball, and the player in red coming from the right side of the photo, absolutely Roy Keaning this geezer in the side of the knee. So, where he's on crutches and more, I don't know, there's just something about him that just looks so horrendous, absolutely horrendous, really deliberate and more controlled than a normal tackle. It's just, it doesn't matter how you're playing the game, what your ability level is, what things you need to get through to be able to play the game. Everyone still loves a studs up challenge to the knee. Everybody does.
Do you know what it is? Yeah, you have to be really careful. I am going to be careful trying to navigate what I'm about to say. But it doesn't matter if you're able-bodied or if you've got a mental disability or a physical disability. You put on a jersey or a shirt and you've got 10 mates wearing the same jersey and same shirt, you still get that blinding rage moment where you're like, I'm going to fucking keen this Yeah, I'm going to fucking keen this motherfucker. He's dead. It doesn't matter what your ability or anything is. But you kind of forget that. You kind of forget oh yeah, disabled people must get fucked off on the field as well. They must get thinking, right, you're fucking mine. You don't think it happens, but of course it does.
It's part of the thing about, it's a big part of equality that gets overlooked a lot, really, Dan. It's the fact that we're all just as horrible as each other.
It's so true. It's so true. It's so true. Fantastic.
The geezer even looked a little bit like 90s Keno as well, so it was fucking beautiful.
Amazing. I'm going to start the San Jose Sharks because their players have decided to have individual goal songs, and Tomáš Hertl has the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles theme for his goal song, which is amazing.
Beautiful. Hopefully they've dubbed over it, so it's the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle.
Oh my god, I didn't even put that together. Well played, well played.
Thank you very much.
I was thinking they should have... Have you ever heard Gloomy Sunday by Billie Holiday?
Not knowingly, no.
Okay, yeah, it's referenced as the most depressing song ever played. And I feel the way the Shark season's going, that could be a good goal song for them.
Yeah, totally.
And it's also called the Suicide Song, as the rumour is that more people have committed suicide to this song than any other in history.
Well, isn't that hilarious?
It's such a depressing song, dude. Terrible.
It's Gloomy Sunday by Billie Holiday.
Yeah, Gloomy Sunday by Billie Holiday.
All right, cool.
Yeah, if you get a chance, folks, have a listen. Obviously not when you're driving or stood on anything big.
I'll get some cleansed vodka and some JPS Black and see what I can do.
Next starter?
That one about the football wasn't a starter. So that was a freebie. I've actually got 3 now.
Oh wow.
Look at this.
Okay.
Look at this. This second one's going to be football related as well. Did you see that Newcastle fan the other night?
As you can tell, I did, Will. Yeah.
I'd assumed you
Wait,
had.
what do you-
I'd assumed you had.
Do you want to explain? Do you want to explain to the good people at home what you're talking about?
Gladly. So Newcastle United FC were playing in the fourth round of the FA Cup. They were playing a replay, wasn't it, Dan?
It was indeed.
Who were they playing?
Oxford United.
Oxford United, the mighty Oxford United. So Newcastle haven't made the fifth round of the FA Cup in over a decade, I want to say.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Sounds about right. It's been a long time, which is a long time for a club of their stature, a Premier League club. It's a bit shameful. So when, in the dying moments, it became obvious they had made the fifth round of the FA Cup, one brave fan rushed to the sideline as close as he could get to the pitch while still being in the stands, and just had to share his elation by dropping his trowel, getting his hand round his penis, and doing what men have done since the dawn of time, live on national television. Isn't that just beautiful?
It's amazing. If you're not sure what he's referring to, folks, it's called the helicopter. He was helicoptering his dick, which is
Oh
just,
my God.
I don't know.
Joe
To be
Thornton
fair,
would be
Geordie
proud.
fans are nuts. Yeah, Geordie fans are nutters, aren't they? So we shouldn't be surprised.
I just wonder what's going to happen if they get to the sixth round. What's he going to do then? What if they get to the semi-finals? The final? What if they win the cup?
I don't know. I heard that he's been banned for life, from going to
Is
stadiums. Yeah, because it's indecent
probably
exposure, isn't it?
reasonable.
He's committed a crime. Yeah, to be fair, yeah, I get it, but it was funny.
I wonder if most Conservative parents see that as better or worse than the Super Bowl halftime show. We'll have to do a poll.
Hilarious, wasn't it? Adam Levine from Maroon 5 gets half naked and no one says anything. Like two girls shake their ass and it's like, oh my God, what are we doing?
But then this Geordie fan hasn't even made the news, I wouldn't say. So,
True, probably not in America either.
no, exactly. So there you go. Shame, really. He deserves more of plaudits, if you ask me.
Speaking of plaudits, my third starter
Hey.
is I'm just gonna say 4 words. Fucking Ovi is ridiculous.
Average. One-dimensional.
That's it.
Christ, I like, but 14 goals in 7 games and 3 hat-tricks in 6 games.
14 goals in 7 games. Do you know why he didn't score one of those 7 games?
Disallowed, or?
No, because it was a suspension for missing the All-Star game.
Oh, Jesus fucking Christ.
Isn't that
So
amazing?
it's 14 goals in 6 games.
14 goals in 6 that he's played.
Fucking hell, well, he needed
just-
that rest, didn't he?
That's the thing, isn't it? Yeah, he's just making a case for just rest. Load management. There you go.
Ovi could have scored 80 goals if there was load management.
Final starter.
My final starter is going to be a shared spot. I'm going to start Ben Bishop and Anton Hudobin, who are both on pace for a top 5 franchise save percentage in a single season for the Stars. 2 goalies in the same damn season. Top 5 all time in the franchise. What more could you ask for?
Dude, Hudobin's just great, isn't he? Isn't he just
mate.
great?
Incredible. Absolutely incredible. Cool, you talk about backup goalies who command more than 2/3 in a prospect. Fucking hell.
Hudobin could have been a shout for underrated player, couldn't he? I know not like the most underrated, but guys who
Jesus,
don't get
it's
enough
like-
love.
He's got to be the best backup in the game, I reckon.
I can't believe I'm going to say this. I'm going to reference both our teams, but Halak is decent as well.
I always forget that Halak's still with the Bruins.
Halak's good.
Yeah, Halak's very good. Very, very good. I wonder if both of those goalies are going to be people who get more money than they should in the summer.
No, but they're probably not because I don't know if it's that they can handle. Obviously, it's handling that workload, isn't it?
Well, that's the thing.
As a
is
backup,
is there
they're
a team
great.
out there that's going to take a chance and say, yeah, we can have this guy as our starter, and then the magic's just not going to be there because they're trying to start rather than playing backup.
It's true. Shout out to Scott Darling. Right. How many scratches you got? How many was it?
It's one. It's one.
Kind of one. Unfortunately, folks, I do sometimes reference serious things on this show. I'm going to scratch death this week. A young Kazakhstan goalie, Vilem Prokofiev, passed away at the age of 18 due to a rare form of cancer that affects the bones and soft tissue in his legs. It's very simple. Sometimes death can fuck the fuck off.
It's always hard to lose someone close to you, especially at such a young age, and thoughts to his family and teammates. Absolutely horrible.
Bad times.
I've actually just got one off the top of the dome as I'm watching a game while we do this, and the adverts have reminded me of something that has pissed me the fuck off this month so far. I'm going to scratch the NHL's coverage of Black History Month. Yeah, they're doing more than they should do, than they have done previously. But the advert they're putting out has precisely 0 black players in it, which is just fucking great.
Fucking kidding me.
Just fucking great. It's got Tory Krug in it. I want to say, no, not David Pasternak.
Noted African American.
Yeah, Jesus Christ. Who's the other guy? someone else, and Matt Dunbar. And Matt Dunbar's half Filipino.
Good.
There you go.
I got nothing for that. You know.
No, I thought it was a good halfway. We'll go from death to the NHL's institutionalised inability to handle handle race relations issues properly, and then hopefully for the next one we can start making jokes again.
Yeah, we went from death to stupidity. So that's the next stage.
Perfect.
Yeah, I'm scratching Jason from Wave Intel as sorry, Jason, but his life is getting scratched as his super smart, clearly he's punching above his weight wife is heading off to the Democratic Republic of Congo to help with aid, and Jason's going to be alone at home with 4 children for 5 weeks.
That's pretty rough. Yeah, rather you than me, Jason. Sorry, buddy.
Sorry, dude. I'll do my best to send a care package over, but oh my God. I mean, the irony is that his wife's going to help people in times of desperation with aid, and when she gets back, that's going to be Jason.
This is the problem, Dan, when we send all this stuff over to foreign aid and forget about our people at home. Oh, bloody hell.
Yeah, Mrs. Jason, charity begins at home. You never heard that?
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
Come on, this poor man's having to struggle with parenthood. What do people in the Democratic Republic of Congo know about that kind of strife?
Exactly.
My other scratch that I can't really scratch is going to be Netflix's The Stranger, and I'll say nothing more on that until you've seen it, Dan.
Oh, damn, a teaser scratch.
There you go.
I like it.
No teaser scratch. Get those 8 episodes done.
We'll call it.
And we'll do it next week.
We'll call it an itch. We'll call it an itch.
Oh,
how about
cheeky
that?
little itch.
Cheeky little itch. But you can't touch it yet, so it's just there.
You just leave it. You don't want it to scar.
Let's get on then. We are on Spotify, iTunes, Google Podcasts, YouTube, and sometimes in some discotheques. Will is battling through illness and currently has the lurgy, and his doctor actually prescribed him a 5-star review on iTunes, as he said that is the best medicine. So if you could leave one on there, it might stop my co-host from dying, which would be great. Thank you very much. This week's interview is a lot of fun. Like all of our guests, we could have spoken for about 3 hours, but Gillian Kemmerer is a Jersey girl with a love of Russia, so much so that she pivoted a career in financial journalism into covering the KHL and working all over the world in hockey. Gillian is absolutely crushing it, and by it, I mean life, and by life, I mean I was very intimidated. We covered everything from her parents' internal drive to working on Wall Street, to walking around Moscow looking at gardens, to James Bond. And in my opinion, Gillian has become the go-to person for KHL news. Here she is, Gillian Kemmerer. The funny thing is, people are terrified of the computers taking over, but I think we're already there, aren't we?
We are absolutely already there. Well, I don't know if you've gotten into this TikTok thing, but someone told me to get an account. And it's funny and it's kind of cool. It's where a lot of the much younger people than me are playing around right now. And they don't recommend videos to you based on your interests. They recommend it based on machine learning and an algorithm. Whoa. And it's really bizarre what takes off and what doesn't. It's totally inexplicable because the computers are now smarter than us at knowing our preferences. And it just creeps me out royally.
Yeah, I read somewhere I think it was 6 months ago, that a company, I'm probably going to say Google because they seem like the kind who would do this kind of thing, they got 2 computers to talk to each other without human interaction, but they had to shut it down within about 3 hours because the computers had already invented a language that nobody could understand.
Oh my God, that's so frightening.
Has nobody seen Terminator? I mean, are we at this point now? You know what happens, folks? It's just like roads made
We
with
know
skulls.
how this ends.
Yeah. And unfortunately, Arnold Schwarzenegger can't reprise that role because he's getting older in real life.
Yeah, exactly right. It's so crazy. And now they have that robot that I forget what her name is, but it's a machine learning robot, and she even has developed empathy and sympathy and can converse with you in a very emotionally profound way. And I just remember seeing her at a conference and being like, I don't know how I feel about this.
Yeah, I know. It's terrifying. It's absolutely terrifying. Okay, so just before we start, or obviously a little bit of housekeeping, this won't be put out as live. It's all edited afterwards. If there's anything you're not happy with or something you think, I shouldn't have said that or something, just let me know and I can remove it. It's no problem at all.
That is a very lovely luxury. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, like I don't know how people do like live interviews, and I just think, oh my god, it's terrifying.
I know. I had one over the weekend, and these guys were just hitting me with really kind of B-list prospect after B-list prospect, and I was like, this is terrifying. I don't. Why are we doing this live? And I was like, this is a kid you drafted in 2014 who hasn't even played 20 games in the KHL. Like, why are we doing this?
Yeah, it's the pressure of the young children in hockey. It's you sometimes think, are these kids? Do these kids want to do this? Is it just their parents? I mean, are they being pushed? I don't know. There was a famous soccer player a few years ago called Benoit Asuakotu, and he famously he hated football. He just hated playing soccer. And somebody said, well, why'd you play it? And he said, because I can do it. But he didn't know any other players. He didn't care about anything else. All he did was he went, and it was just literally his job was just to go to work, play football and go home. He didn't socialise with any teammates or anything. And I wonder how many hockey players are like that. How many are just trying to live that Russian dream or that Canadian dream, you know?
It's true. I would hope in North America it's fewer, but in Russia, the parenting's it's very strict. It kind of has a tiger parent feel to it. And if you're a Russian of a certain financial status, you are going to push your kids to try and do something that is going to get them a lot of fame or a lot of money. And I've seen this now with young figure skaters on the female side and now increasingly hockey players. And I just think, come on, like, can we not do this? There's so many other sports, hobbies, like, don't make the kid do the one thing that they dread waking up and doing. It's such a bad precedent. I
know, it's always that thing of, because I'm a parent, and I'm terrified of, like, I just want my daughter to do a job that she wants to do. I don't want her to do a job for money or just, you know, and right now, I mean, she's 8 years old, but right now she's hell-bent on being a tattooist when she's older. So
interesting.
I'm like,
that's a cool one.
Yeah, I mean, they make so much money. I said, look, I mean, yeah, they make loads of money, but just do something you want to do. So that's what she wants to do right now, but kids trying to live their parents' dreams for them. It's really sad.
It's hard. And I've seen it too with a lot of, I know a lot of NHL alumni and watching them train their kids who probably will never live up to their parents' standards, either due to lack of talent or lack of interest, and watching them push. That's actually one of the hardest situations I've encountered.
It must be, yeah, because I mean, if you're, I mean, anybody of any note in the NHL, if your kid, it's so hard. You just think, I would just try and stay away from hockey as far away as possible. I just become a wheat farmer or something. Just nothing involving ice or cold weather or anything.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. It's ridiculous. And that's such a hard, I mean, it's very hard to break into professional hockey. So the kid has to be unbelievable on top of it. So I can't imagine the pressure there. I
guess I just want to talk about why I wanted to have you on and everything. It's when we started the show, it was more just me and my colleague Will were just talking about hockey and, you know, what kind of happened in the sport, and like a recap kind of show. But we realised that there's a billion recap shows and there's a billion shows of, I don't know, let's get X player A to talk about X player B and good old timey stories. And I just thought that's kind of a bit boring. I wanted to get people on who are just involved in hockey. At the moment, I'm just trying to arrange an interview with a photographer who covers female hockey. Her name's Alana. Her name escapes memory now, her second name, but she messaged me back saying, I'm not sure why you've messaged me. I know nothing about hockey. I said, I don't care. Like, I don't want you to talk about hockey. I want you to talk about photography. But you obviously,
cool.
You photograph hockey players, and yours is the same story. As soon as your name came across my radar, I was thinking, oh, this is really interesting because, your story is not a hockey story. It's a life story, and it's like fascinating. And reading your bio, I was just thinking, okay, I have to try and like get this person on to talk to. And I mean,
thank you.
No, it's fine. I could list all of your accomplishments, but that would make me feel really inadequate. So I'm not going to bother. Let's start like right at the beginning. Whereabouts did you grow up?
I grew up in Sea Isle City, New Jersey, which is basically as far south as you can go in the state, right on the water. My parents lived on the bay, so I had a very lovely, sunny childhood growing up around there, and I was never far from Philadelphia. That was the closest city to us, so inevitably I was passed on the unfortunate inheritance of being a Philadelphia sports fan across the board.
Oh, really?
Which only recently paid off because we did win the Super Bowl in recent memory. But especially in hockey as a Flyers fan, I missed the Broad Street Bullies fun and just kind of gravitated directly to the losing years, as I call them.
Yeah. My best friend, who was best man at my wedding, actually lived in Philly for 3.5 years. He's a humble brag. He's a nuclear scientist. I know a nuclear scientist, no big deal.
Whoa! But, they let him into Philly? Come on!
I know, but he moved up. Yeah, he moved to Philly, and he became an Eagles fan, which was horrendous for me because I'm a Cowboys fan, Gillian. So,
Oh no! We
mean,
have
the
to
good
end
news
this
is-
conversation
I
now.
know. I mean, the good news is you can now laugh at me until the end of time because my team is horrendously terrible and just a laughing stock. But yeah, so wow, growing up in Philly.
Oh.
So what did your parents do then? What was their sort of growing up?
My mom originally taught, and then she's passionate about travel, which kind of put the wanderlust in me as a kid. So she started her own super successful travel agency, and she still owns that to this day.
Wow.
And my dad works in title insurance, which touches the real estate business. It's a type of insurance you need in the States. I'm not sure if you have the same in the UK, but essentially it makes sure that whatever you're buying is not actually entitled away to someone or something else. So he started his own business, both entrepreneurs, and had that for a very long time and only recently sold it, but is still involved in the business.
So then obviously that instilled that kind of drive in you to want to do your own thing, be your own person kind of thing.
Yeah, it always impressed me that they were their own bosses and that they could drive their businesses in any direction they wanted. I think that's a luxury. Well, it's not a luxury, it's hard earned. But when you finally go to the working world and you know what it's like to have a boss and to answer to people that, sometimes have your best interest at heart and sometimes don't, you realize the real value of putting in that kind of investment to do your own thing.
The risks are, I have a massive respect for people who do that because the all people see is the rewards of that. You're your own boss. That must be amazing. Get up when you want, but you don't. You have to work even harder, don't you? Because you've put everything of yourself on the line.
Yeah, I remember there was some kind of quote that someone passed around about entrepreneurship and the hard work that goes in at the beginning to be able to give you that freedom in the end. But a lot of people can't handle that pressure at the beginning, or it's just impossible for them to take on with families and other things. But it's really quite a commitment, and it's remarkably brave to put yourself out there like that, I think.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So what made you pursue a career in journalism then? How did that come around then if your parents didn't have much to do with that side of things?
So my family was always super passionate about sports. And so I grew up in and around it on TV, going to games, and the Flyers captured my imagination from when I was very, very young. Actually, in fact, they weren't too bad when I was around 7, 8 years old. And later they kind of fell off the planet a little bit. But I remember, as a kid thinking to myself, well, I suppose there was women's hockey at the time, but it's not something that was in my immediate purview. So playing hockey never really felt like an option to me. And I remember thinking, God, I wish I could work in this industry. I wish I could be around it. So as a 9, 10-year-old, the one thing that came to mind was how can I get the closest to the ice as possible without being on it? And being a hockey reporter was sort of the thing that I came to, the conclusion I came to. So I started writing letters to Comcast Sportsnet, which I think is now NBC, and essentially writing to the Flyers commentators and being like, yo, I'm 9, give me a job. And oddly enough, and some of the letters were actually moderately threatening. I've read them back in later years, and I was like, wow, that was an aggressive lead. You didn't need to go that far. And to their credit, the Flyers commentators called me back. In fact, Steve Coates, who used to host a color show called Coates' Corner between the periods, he got on the phone with me for over an hour when I was about 10. And
Wow.
He talked to me very seriously about my ideas and my interest. And later on, maybe a couple years later, they started hosting a sports broadcasting camp for aspiring journalists, and I wound up attending that. And to this day, the Flyers play-by-play, Jim Jackson, keeps in touch and reviews my reels and acts as a mentor. So it's sort of remarkable what those guys did for me and what they've continued to do. So it was a passion from a very young age. I didn't take a straight shot there. I wound up going off into other beats and topics, but I definitely always harbored that desire from when I was a little girl.
I've often said this on the show. When you're a fan of the number 4 sport in the US, you almost feel like you're in a secret club. And
Yes.
I don't know, you kind of, I remember I was on holiday about 2 years ago and a guy walked past me in an Islanders cap and I kind of went, oh, like that. And he looked at me like, what the hell's wrong with you? And I was thinking, oh my God, hockey fan. And I couldn't.
Yeah.
Because it's this little secret. And I was on an island in Spain. It's just not where you'd think you see hockey merch. But yeah, it's that kind of thing. And I think they thought the same thing. Like, hang on, there's a young girl here wanting to talk to us. Like, this is great. Like, that's amazing.
It's funny. I did always feel that way about hockey. Like it was the best kept secret. Nobody knew but me and like 100 of my closest friends. So it's funny.
Yeah.
I do feel that way. Was he wearing an Islanders beanie on an island in Spain? Because that seems a bit aggressive. Or was it like a baseball hat?
No,
Because
it's
I
a
always think of
baseball
hockey
cap.
gear as being warm. Okay, that's
Yeah,
fair.
no, it's a very... He was wearing a beanie on and like it's 40 degrees outside. I'm like, dude, what are you doing? That's a real diehard fan.
I mean, and for the Islanders, I can imagine those people exist.
Yeah, that's so true. You brought up women's hockey doing the show as well. I wanted to get people on of different sexual orientation, different backgrounds, race, creed, everything. And we had NHL history girl Jen on. We had Meredith Foster, who writes for the Ice Garden. And I asked them the same question because me and Will can talk about women's hockey, but to be honest, we have no bloody idea what we're talking about because we're guys. We don't know how it is in that world. And what do you think would be a good step to take women's hockey forward? I know that this is a really loaded question, and I apologize, but there we go.
No, don't apologize. It's a question that we all should be asking ourselves. And it's actually one I've been thinking a lot about. In fact, I just filed a story last night about the Women's Hockey League in Russia. So I think history has dictated, at least in the United States, that a women's league attached to an existing men's league, borrowing from its intelligence, its resources, its personnel, its training, has traditionally done the best. And the NHL has been so reluctant or has been so slow to actually go ahead and stick their necks out to put women's hockey on the map. And in Russia, that's actually not the case. The KHL is completely sponsoring and operating the WHL, which is the Russian Women's Hockey League that's been in existence for a couple of years. And when you speak with any woman, and there are quite a few North Americans that are involved with the WHL. In fact, they have a team in China that is paired up with their KHL team, the Kunlun Red Star, and the women's team is the Shenzhen Banca Rays. And it's staffed with a lot of North Americans, including on the ice. When you ask them what sets the WHL apart, they say that there's not this fear of the men's side taking over or being competitive. It's actually this incredible collaboration of men on the sidelines who are supporting and lending their knowledge of running a league and the operational principles and lending it to the women and training them and helping them. And that collaborative atmosphere, and especially on the financial side, I mean, women's hockey can't exist in the U.S. without the NHL support, at least at the beginning.
Yeah.
But watching that develop in Russia, it makes me realize that while it's not perfect, and of course the WHL has plenty of things to learn, it really is a remarkable testament to playing the long game and making the long-term investment in women's hockey. And the results are starting to pay off. Russia is starting to perform well on the global junior stage. The games are getting more and more attendance. In China, they're getting 3,000 on opening weekend, for example. That's a really remarkable number for a women's hockey game in a country where hockey didn't really exist in professional form in recent memory. So I think personally, borrowing from the experience of these leagues, having these men on board as mentors, and not just men, but women who worked within the NHL. And unfortunately, women working within men's sports leagues, it's still far too low to be palatable.
Yeah.
But getting those women and using all of that knowledge and applying it is so fundamental. And it seems so simple, but it just doesn't happen. And that's what I think needs to be happening in North America. And it's already happening in Russia, surprisingly.
Being a man, it's easy for me to say these things, but I would think that, the NHL steps in and just says, look, here's a ton of money. We can afford to lose some of it. Our TV deal is worth, ridiculous amounts of dollars every year. Just take it and it'll help us grow the game. You would think that the NHL would be all over this because like I said, it's the number 4 sport in the US. Like, you want to grow the game, and especially with hockey being a world game, because baseball, basketball, and the NFL, while they're popular, you don't have an NFL World Championships because it's just played in North America. So you would think the NHL will be all over this to think, well, hang on a minute, we've already got a base in Europe. We've already got, they could have teams on the East Coast, women's teams on the East Coast playing teams in Russia or Sweden, or if they wanted to sort of go that route. And I'm surprised you haven't done it yet, but I guess there's lots of red tape around it and everything at the moment.
They've definitely framed it as this is not a financially feasible or financially profitable decision. That's at least my broad takeaway. And I haven't spoken directly with Gary Bettman to know which way or the other. But the interesting thing about the WHL in Russia, for example, is that there's only 8 teams, and they're not all attached to pre-existing KHL squads. Some of them are, but it's a smaller league. It's a shorter season. Their playoffs are shorter. And so you look at it and you say to yourself, at least this is a place to start. We don't need 10,000 teams. and we don't need gold-plated lockers, but we need the basics and we need the operational knowledge and equivalence of how the men are working. Because, for example, in women's hockey, my friend Steph Klein, who's the equipment manager for the Vankeray, says, in men's hockey, it is assumed that tape is waiting for you at practice, and the opposing team makes that tape available. In women's hockey, they would arrive and there would be no tape, or there were actually times when she was carrying pucks with her back and forth on the road. I mean, no pucks available for practice. It's ridiculous. So when you think of those basics, I mean, they seem silly, but that's the kind of stuff that's being overlooked. And that's where we need to step in and have the exact same operational framework. And only the NHL can do that. And they can do it quicker and more easily than anyone on the outside looking in. So I do think that they have a duty to grow the game. And I think that if they would make that short-term or take that short-term financial hit, there is a long-term play. And I think you only have to look at U.S. women's soccer to begin to understand what it could look like.
Absolutely. I mean, the men, yeah, it's amazing. The men's US team is just terrible. It's absolutely terrible. Yeah. And they've thrown so much money at it. Yet the women's team is so dominant. It's absolutely ridiculous. When we spoke to Meredith Foster, and she covers women's hockey in Scandinavia, and she told us about I think it was either the women's junior team or the women's team, but they were playing a game in Finland, and to take a plane home, it would have taken them an hour, but instead they had to go by boat, which took 10 hours. She's like, can you imagine, I don't know, say Vancouver are playing Boston or something? It's like, well, you got to drive back. Like, what? There's no way.
It's atrocious.
Moving back to journalism, you started your career on Wall Street. How did that come about?
So I started my career as a financial journalist. I graduated during actually one of the worst job markets in the U.S. It was right after the recession. And I graduated in New York, and I wanted desperately to be a journalist. The sports thing was always in the back of my mind. But to be completely frank, and I'm so glad that this has changed, I didn't feel at the time that I really had all that many options because I was kind of nerdy. I had a degree in economics. I wanted to be a smart reporter. I wanted to do the deeper stories, the day two stuff. And I didn't see a whole lot of entry-level options that had feasible paths anywhere, and let alone be able to pay enough in the short term to actually be able to live and work in New York City, because you can't make a basic salary in New York and survive. The rent is too high. Everything else that comes along with living in New York is too high. So I figured to myself, okay, I'm interested. And I was interested genuinely in business and economics. And, I always thought that sports would somehow play in, or I'd find my way back to them. And so when nothing really materialized in that particular industry, I thought, well, if I cover finance and business, one of the things I've always been interested in is the business of sports. So maybe I'll have an opportunity to pivot a bit that way on the side or eventually full time. So I made the decision kind of pragmatically when I first graduated. And it wound up being I don't regret the decision at all. It wound up being a really formative decision because financial journalism is really hard. Breaking scoops on hedge funds, which is the part of finance I was focused on, is really hard. You have to be an incredibly well-versed reporter. You have to be able to develop sources, work under pressure. You have to be able to take a lot of flack from the people you're reporting on who threaten to sue and everything else because they have a lot to lose. And you have to be really meticulous because the data is difficult. You could risk basically moving the market, or you could risk someone's job or investment if you make a mistake. And you have plenty of people with plenty of ulterior motives talking to you. It's a very trial by fire kind of beat. And at the time, it was immensely uncomfortable, especially as a woman working in those circumstances, because especially in the hedge fund world, it's almost entirely dominated by men. And also, given the power dynamic and how difficult the subject matter was, there were just times when I would go home and I would literally have the jitters until the middle of the night because the whole thing was such a pressure cooker. But at the end of the day, I think I learned a lot about myself and about journalism in general. And I had a tough editor who put the fear of God into me. And I really was grateful for that because it made me just overall a better reporter. But it was an interesting couple of years. I got to travel the world. I got to meet some really interesting people. I did get some of those sports business stories on the side. But yeah, it was a kind of interesting way to kick off my sports reporting career eventually.
I always think back to my life in my formative years, and bosses or I mean, God, even when I was sort of 10 or 11 and I was sort of doing martial arts training and stuff like that, there would be people I would just be terrified of. And again, like, what, I mean, all they're going to do is shout at you when you're like, you know, when I was like younger, like 10, 11, 12, 13. And then at the
Except
time,
in martial arts, they could kick your ass.
yeah. But like, then when you look back on it, you think, oh yeah, that was the best thing. That's what I needed. But at the time, you don't seem to realize it. But yeah, like these people push you and drive you, and I guess it's that, you know, obviously there's a fine line, isn't it, between, you know, pushing somebody aggressively or, you know, going too far. But I always find it interesting that those people I look back on when I was terrified of them at the time, but now I just think, oh, thank God they were there to make me push on and do other things.
I've been watching this documentary called Cheer on Netflix, and like everyone thinks I'm crazy, but hear me out on this. It's this unbelievable documentary about competitive cheerleading at a college in Texas.
Oh my, yeah, my daughter's watched that.
Oh my God. I'm obsessed. I'm going full out, as they say. And I binged it. And this woman who runs it, Monica, I forget her last name. She's this super tough coach. I mean, she pushes them to their literal mental and physical limits. But the respect and the adoration they have for her off the back of it. I mean, you look at it sometimes and you think, why would you ever go back? This woman is insane. She's pushing you through pain. But they realize the value of what she's given them. She's given them self-belief. She's given them a launch pad to figure out what their own limits are. And she had this great quote. It was like, do it until you get it right, and then keep doing it until you can't get it wrong, something along those lines. And I thought to myself, yeah, that's exactly right. You have the repetition, the pressure, all of that eventually leads to you being able to perform on a bigger stage. So I'm 100% behind that. I don't think we have to be mean or horrible or like dogmatic, and I hate those shows like Dance Moms where they're screaming at these little kids and everything else. Yeah. But mentors and bosses that push you, I mean, it sucks at the time, but boy, does it pay off.
Yeah, I know which quote you. There's a quote I've heard before, which is, "An amateur practices until he can get it right. A professional practices until he can't get it wrong."
Exactly.
Which is it's
exactly
perfect.
What she's riffing off of, and it's so true. It's so
definitely.
true.
So you mentioned sort of working sources before when you're a journalist. I've always wanted to ask a journalist this. So there's two kind of parts to this. How do you know when somebody gives you a story, okay, this is something I should run with, I should look into this because it seems like it's there? And have you ever wondered why people would give you information? Because I've always
I used to wonder all the time.
This is going to sound crazy, but I'm also into I like pro wrestling, and professional wrestlers are the worst for giving dirt on each other. And professional wrestlers will talk to wrestling journalists all the time about things they shouldn't. And somebody always says, why do these guys talk to you? And we don't know. Like they always say, we don't know. We think like maybe there's like a sense of power to it or something. But I wondered what your take was on something like that.
You have to be careful. So I think there are three reasons why people might talk to you. The first is that they have an ulterior motive that they're trying to push. So they talk to you to get a story out there that benefits them in some way, shape, or form. Sometimes that can turn out to be okay, but sometimes it's obviously misinformation. It's something meant to drive a course of events in a different direction. In sports, it could be to drive a bigger deal, a bigger signing. In finance, it could be a multitude of reasons related to the market, to an investment, to a hire. So that's the first reason, and you have to get kind of good at sniffing that out. But I think you tend to feel it. And the person tends to be manically excited to give you the information. You don't have to pry it out of them. I don't know. You develop a feel for it after a while. The second, I think, is why most journalists do what they do and why they develop relationships. And it's because people genuinely trust you and they recognize that they can talk to you and that you won't do them wrong and that there is an interesting story to be told. And then the third reason, I think, is there are people who talk to journalists for the public good. And I think in sports and in finance, that's maybe less relevant. Sometimes it is, but you get a bit more on the second note, which is that someone trusts you and they're willing to open up and tell their story. And that trust factor is immensely important. I think the toughest thing is walking the line between being a source and being a friend, because at the end of the day, you can't be best friends with your sources, right? Because you need information. There is an exchange there. But at the same time, how can you not develop a relationship with someone who you trust? Because I have to trust you as a journalist to tell me what things that are right or to put me in the right direction. But you also have to trust me too. So it's a very delicate relationship that really requires a lot of nuance, I think.
So have you ever been close to sort of investigating, or we were ever close to publishing a story or going to your editor to like at the last second realise you were being, if this is the right word, duped or led on, or did you ever come close to sort of like putting your foot in it because somebody tried to use you?
I've definitely had cases where I've done an interview and I read it back, especially after the moment. And I think I really should have pushed harder on this. Especially I find that this happens a lot with athletes looking back at their careers. If you have someone that maybe by universal standards didn't live up to expectations or had some kind of drama in the midst of their career, they have a very strong motivation to tell the story in a certain way. They have a very strong reason to influence the narrative. I'm the best that ever was, and it was that coach that didn't use me in the right position, and that's why I didn't perform. Yeah. And it's kind of easy to buy into when you're in the moment and having a conversation with someone, and sometimes they're not wrong. But I'm not saying it's universal, but very often that's what I find I have to be careful about is like, how is someone painting things that occurred to benefit a narrative that they're trying to push forward about themselves. And that's when you have to be able to call the coach in question or be able to call the teammates who are willing to speak to you and get the full story. It's about reporting 360 as opposed to just taking someone at face value. And I do a lot of one-on-one interviews. And so I just try to be smarter about how I ask the questions. Like I try not to get people to give me value assessments of themselves and rather talk about specific incidents or relationships, because in general, no one's ever going to be like, yeah, you know what, I could have done better. I kind of sucked there for 2 years and, whatever. And maybe you get some people who'll do it, but a lot of people will paint the story of their career, especially once it's over, in a different light. And you have to be aware of that and ready to deal with the flack that might come with it. Because then you have the fans who pipe in and they're like, no, he didn't perform. That's not what, so you just have to be aware of what the different perspectives will be. Every person's career has many different facets and many different ways to interpret it. And you just have to find ways to ask questions that are fair, I think, and that, also just to source the other people around that particular person to make sure that you're getting as clear of a view into their career as possible.
It is strange. I mean, athletes are, we've referenced this before on the show, but we always say that being in a competitive sports team, they drill you as though it's like war. You're all just locked in this room with these guys for 8-9 months at a time. You get to emerge for about 10 weeks and then you're back at it again. And there's like athletes are so guarded, especially in competitive team sports. They're so guarded at times that I don't know. It's like just this loyalty to the badge or to somebody on their team or something. And I've always found interesting that more players don't just say, I mean, to be fair, I was useless. I was absolutely awful. I don't know what I did wrong. It's ridiculous. And I think that's kind of, I don't know what we take us on this or not, but I feel like it's kind of crept into culture a little bit as well, that people nowadays don't just say, yeah, do you know what? I'm really sorry. I messed up. I'm so sorry. I don't know what I did wrong. Like I tried to do this and it went wrong and I made a mistake. People seem now to just not want to admit to mistake. I don't know why that is.
Social media is such an awful element of all this because your mistakes live on forever. And instead of just owning up to it, because it's like if you own up to it, you're still going to get attacked. Like people are still going to go after you and destroy you. I have seen, let's say someone misstep and say something that came off a little wrong and apologize, and Twitter continues to bash them over the head. So people are just afraid to say anything at all. And with athletes, especially in Russia, there's this fear that you're going to twist what they say. And I know for a fact that there are some athletes who have had terrible situations of having their stories twisted for newsworthiness or sensation. And that's hard to overcome too. And I think in sports, the dramas play out really well. And it's really easy to lead with the kind of stupid little throwaway comment that seems suggestive as opposed to the bigger picture story, because maybe the bigger picture story doesn't sell as many newspapers, so to speak. But yeah, I would agree that we're in a world where people are more likely to just shut down and close off than speak. And if they make a mistake or anything else, owning up to it, the value of owning up to it seems to decline over time. And I disagree with it, but it just seems to be the way things are.
So did you start out in journalism when print media was still the main focus? Or was it transitioning at the time?
It was transitioning. I started on an outlet actually that had just transitioned off of having a magazine to going strictly digital.
Right.
And I was always disappointed in that because I loved print and I still love print and I read physical books and
Yeah, me
everything
too.
else.
Yeah.
Can't help it. And I don't know. So I definitely was more on the digital age, but I think I was right at the cusp, to be honest.
There's something about a book, isn't there? Just holding the book. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's, I don't know. Like, it just takes me back to my youth. I'm 39 years old. So when I was a kid, there was no internet, there was no YouTube. So you go to bed and read a book for 2 hours or an hour and a half or whatever. And it just kind of, now when I read a book, I just kind of get transported back to this sort of, these halcyon days and rose-tinted spectacles of, wasn't it amazing back then? There was no problems in the world and all that kind of thing.
Better for your eyes, too. What are you reading right now? Anything good?
I've actually started reading. I hardly ever read fiction books. I mostly read. Oh God, I've been admitting to far too many things on this already. But I'm really into. The psychology behind serial killers and why they do what they do.
Interesting.
I've just started reading a fiction book by a thriller writer, an English writer called Mo Hader, and she writes a series of books based around a detective. She is unbelievable. If you're into kind of detective novels or thriller novels, that kind of thing, definitely check out Mo Hader. She has a way of writing that's, if I was writing the pencil is on the floor, I'd write the pencils on the floor. She has a way of writing it without using the word pencil or floor. Yet in your brain, you can see exactly what she's saying. And these books are genuinely terrifying. And so I'm like, I'm reading them at night. Like, yeah, I'm like reading them at night under the bed covers, going, oh my God, like he's behind you type thing. But it's a book. So yeah, at the moment I'm reading Mo Hader is my recommendation.
Good recommendation. That's solid. My mom's really into stories like detective stories and stuff like that. And she's a huge Anglophile. So I'm going to have to point her in that direction for sure.
Oh, okay. Okay. You mentioned before covering sports and finance, it's male dominated. Do you see any changes in that now? How many more females are coming through, or is it is the glass ceiling still there? I guess is the main question here.
I've definitely seen a change in the reporting landscape. I think in sports reporting, you're seeing more and more women, and they're not in that same tired role of like the pretty girl that throws to the panel.
Yeah.
You're getting more and more women entrusted with the bigger, tougher stories and going after the features and sitting on the panel. And I'm happy to see that. It's by no means at a place where we can rest on our laurels. And I think especially in many sports, there's still an absolutely embarrassing lack of people of color as well. And we have to be so mindful of that. But I do see an improvement for women on some level. I think there's still pervasive beliefs and systems that are difficult to overcome. Maybe not so much, well, I'm sure in the hiring phase, but also once you get in and around the organizations and you're operating. But, I do believe that there's a worldwide acknowledgement that this is an issue. And I think that, we have a long way to go. And there are, of course, some that still refuse to acknowledge that this has been very much a specific and privileged game for a long time. But I'm seeing things get better in the sense that I'm seeing at least more women represented. But I think particularly with minority voices, we have a long way to go.
So have you noticed a difference then in the way that men are around you then from when you started in your career? Have they changed, or is it more just a case of they're just being more quiet about things they wish they could say?
It's a good question. In finance, I was pleasantly surprised in the sense that if you demonstrated that you knew your stuff early on, you could kind of dispel some of the misperceptions right away. It's not to say that I never had uncomfortable situations or that I never, felt that I was put in a compromising situation. But I was very lucky, perhaps, not to encounter the volume of issues that I know certainly occur on Wall Street and other places. In sports, I think it's a little slower to the uptick, and I can speak more directly to what's going on in Russia than I can to the U.S. because I've worked in Russian locker rooms more recently. I had a funny scenario with a head coach that banned me from coming to practice, or didn't ban me, but told me I had to sit way up in the rafters. And if you're a hockey reporter, everyone knows that morning skate is the best time to grab an athlete. Yeah. And I remember just being like, why? And then he said, well, you're a bit of a distraction. We can't really have you too close to the players, too close to the ice. So you're just going to have to go sit up there. And I was like, oh, huh. And at the time, not to say that I didn't think anything of it, but I was like, oh, okay. And so I went and sat away. And by the time I got down from the rafters to grab people, they were already gone. And so I missed out on doing a couple of interviews. And I just remember standing there and like going into the bathroom and looking at myself really hard in the mirror for a minute and being like, did you do anything that suggested that you were here to be a distraction? Is it the way you're dressed? Is it the way you present yourself? Did you say something that could be misconstrued, flirtatious, etc.? And it took me a while to realize that it probably had nothing to do with me and everything to do with him, and that he was making an absolutely sexist comment. But I think as a woman, or as anyone that's been taught to look at yourself first in a situation, it's hard. So yeah, I have encountered situations where it's more the low key, small things that keep women out of the game. And it's not so much the overt, blatant, although I'm sure that still happens. And we've heard reports of it happening, but we have to start tackling some of those smaller, low grade problems that happen subconsciously, because those are the ones that sometimes are the most dangerous. Like, I'm sure he didn't mean to actively subvert my professional my work and my career by making that comment. But in fact, he made it very difficult, if not impossible, to achieve what I'd gone there to achieve. So that's the kind of stuff that I think we need to be more careful about.
Yeah, he might not have even meant anything by it, but the fact it's even in his brain means that there is a problem there that he has to fix and that society has to fix, because it shouldn't even be in his brain. You're just a reporter and that's it. It's not, I don't know, it shouldn't matter if you're a man or woman. It shouldn't matter if there's a dog sat there taking notes. It shouldn't matter. Like, if there's reporters taking notes, that's it. Like, who cares?
Yeah, exactly. It's the stuff that we don't even realize consciously is happening. That's the stuff that's the hardest to tackle, but probably the most important.
Alrighty, thank you to Gillian. Part 2 is up next week. Before we get to the news, it is brought to you by Wave Intel. Jason and his legion of interns are working hard, so you can seem smarter at that Works conference in Western Canada. And now maybe Mary from Accounts will give you the time of day because you impressed her with your knowledge of the Panthers power play. Not only does Wave Intel provide great hockey stats, but it might help you get some sexy action. Wave Intel online and on Twitter, being smart so you don't have to. Okie dokie, the news. In a not guilty verdict, the likes of which we haven't seen since the juice was loose, Gritty has been cleared of allegations.
For God's sake.
He took a running start and punched a 13-year-old boy. This is important, Will. The official police statement read that the investigation has been completed and is no longer active, determining the actions of the individual portraying the Flyers mascot did not constitute physical assault as alleged. We can all breathe a sigh of relief because Gritty is not going to jail.
So they're saying he didn't punch him, or that he didn't punch him enough for it to be assault?
It just says, does not constitute physical assault as alleged.
That's the thing, is that so they're saying he did something, he just didn't do
Just gave him a little love tap. That's all he did.
Clipped him around the ear.
Did you know the official bio on the Flyers website has Gritty admitting to bullying tendencies?
Yeah, like the whole. I don't think anyone was shocked and saying, "Oh, this is completely out of character for Gritty."
No. And then did you see the video that got released the day after the verdict came down?
No.
Of him just like rejecting nuns in the basketball court.
Oh Jesus! Yeah. Proper strong arm in him.
It was just Gritty at the basketball court for some reason playing against nuns, and he was just rejecting all their shots and being in their face. Just put, and on the tweet, he just put business as usual.
Just fucking John Lomu on the basketball court. Fuck's sake!
Fantastic.
Like that to me is like very OJ, is what that is.
Oh, it's just great. Everyone's talking about the Sabres this week, or at least the past couple of weeks, because it's clear that they're not making the playoffs again. Everything's just going wrong with this team. Did you see that first goal in the Avs game last night or the night before?
No, I didn't. Was it an own goal? Am I making that up?
It's maybe worse than an own goal.
Wings it around the far side. Girgensons trying to play that one up along the wall, but some good pressure. That one is eventually kept in by Graves, and a shot that was close. Carter Hutton makes the save. Loose puck in front over in the far corner. Doesn't know where it is. Loose puck far side, scores! Girard! A gaggle of players had no idea where it was. And this game is going to end with Zach Bogosian just standing with the puck at his own blue line. 6-1, your final score.
As the puck gets played in, There is a massive scramble at the net. Everyone's trying to dig the puck out. The goalie's trying to sweep it up. He can't quite get it. He can't see it. Players are on the net quiet, can't quite see it. And then the puck ends up in the back of the net because the puck was nowhere near the goal. It was on the right wing.
Oh, yes.
And nobody saw it. It spooned up into the air and gone off the glass, and nobody noticed apart from, I cannot remember who the Avs player was. I think it was Sam Gerard, maybe. Absolutely symptomatic of where the Sabres are at the moment. And a bad season, such a bad team. And they were booed off. They were booed off at the half and booed off at the end. And they're being looked at on all sides at the moment, and rightly so. And it was kind of like when we looked at the Devils, who've kind of been stagnant for a long time as well, apart from just having Taylor Hall for that one amazing 4-month period. The Sabres have done literally nothing since drafting Jack Eichel 5 years ago, and seemingly haven't improved at all. I did have a quick look at two very basic stats, which was goals for and goals against since Eichel joined the team. So goals for in the league, since Jack Eichel's been on the team, they finished 26th, 25th, 31st, 24th, and are currently 21st. And goals against, they finished 16th, 20th, 29th, 23rd, and are currently 19th. Is it sad Jack now, not sad Connor? Do we now feel sorry for Jack Eichel?
I think it always should have been sad Jack more than sad Connor, because at least Connor's made the bloody playoffs.
And won a Hart Trophy.
Jack Eichel's not sulking about it as much as all it is. So something that we'll never be able to know, but it'd be so interesting to think about whether they'd be in the same position if they drafted Connor McDavid. Yeah, if they got that first overall pick, would they still be in the same position? Because in a lot of ways the Sabres are very much like the Oilers, construction-wise, but
yeah, completely
less of a foundation than Edmonton had before they traded it all away. But it's just the problem where like McDavid is a whole step above Eichel, Draisaitl's a whole step above Reinhart, etc., etc. But apart from
Zach Kassian's a whole step above Jeff Skinner.
Jesus fucking Christ, dude, sure as hell is. Fucking Jeff Skinner.
Do you know how many points Jeff Skinner, by the way, making $9 million a year, do you know how many points he's got this season so far?
It's not 30 or something.
You wish. 19. 19 points for $9 million.
I love being right when you're being really like being right about really horrible things, like Jeff Skinner being really bad. Oh my god! And Jack Eichel growing to regret his contract.
How long is it before he asks for a trade?
Oh mate,
does he ever do it? Do you think he'll do it?
I don't know. That's the sort of thing that you don't. How much does he enjoy being in Buffalo? Obviously, on the surface, like Buffalo's not. It's not like he's in LA or Miami or anything like that. But like, does he enjoy the? It is a good hockey market he's around. Yeah, exactly. He's got good fans. Are the backroom staff good to him? Sort of thing. Does he like the rink? Does he like where he lives? Etc. Etc. Because he's from Boston, isn't he? So it's not a million miles away from home. I'm going to say no, he doesn't ask for a trade because it's the NHL and shit like that never happens. But I fucking hope he does. Just to steal some information from future friend of the show, Dmitry Filipovich, Jack Eichel's rookie season, the Sabres, 81 points, minus 21 goal differential, 23rd in the league. Buffalo Sabres on pace this season, 5 years later, for 2 points more, minus 16 goal differential instead of minus 21, and 23rd in the league. And this is with Eichel having no change. Heart-worthy career year. He's 66 points he's got so far this year. I mean, he's playing amazing. That's the thing with so compare him to the Devils a few years ago when Taylor Hall had that, when Taylor Hall won the Hart. How on paper, who's a better team, the Sabres or the Devils? It's the Sabres compared to the Devils of that year, I'd say. Yeah, I agree. But it's that thing of like a culture of losing. Like the franchise is rotten to the core, a bit like the Oilers. Like you can't. There's just something about them that you just can't fix. I said this before. It doesn't help as well. But look at their division. Oh yeah, absolutely. I never had a chance. Really, did they? And you could argue that 3 out of the 4 best teams in the entire league came out of the same division last season. Oh yeah, well you could argue it, and you'd be absolutely right. But even then, they're 25th in the entire league. Even if you disregard division, they're fucking awful this year. And with him on the ice this season, they're up 45-32, 5-on-5, and up 88-54 in total minutes. Without Jack Eichel, they're down 59-50, 5-on-5, and 102-58 in total. Like that's just part of that inflated total. I'm sure is because he doesn't kill penalties when you're considering all situations. True, but Still,
I feel like playing Jack Eichel 45 minutes a night might not be the best thing.
I think you should. He just needs to play all situations, and when I say all situations, I mean literally all situations. 60 minutes.
Yeah, goal, kit man, everything.
He's got to fucking do everything. Yeah, that's the only way you can get guaranteed results.
Do you not think he looks at? I was just going to say, like, do you not think he looks at Ryan O'Reilly and thinks, "Shit, that guy forced a trade out and got everything he ever wanted."
He had it fucking right, didn't he?
Do you know what I mean? And I'm not saying, I'm not saying after Jack Eichel goes to Vancouver or whatever, a team that was kind of unfancied but could maybe do something, and then he wins everything. I'm not saying that, but he must look at a guy who he played with, who was constantly moaning, gets his move away, and then he wins everything. He fulfills his life dream. And Eichel's, it's like 5 years, and it'll be, God, like, and it'll be the same next year, because I can't imagine that the Panthers, the Lightning, the Bruins, and the Leafs are going to suddenly all just drop off and be terrible. They're not.
No, exactly. I think that's a good lesson for young Jack, that life isn't fair in the slightest.
This has just come back to my mind, and we had this conversation on one of our first ever shows, and you said, why the fuck is Jack Eichel being so loyal to the Sabres for 8 years?
Yeah.
It's insane. Why do these guys coming out of their ELC think they owe these teams 8 years of their life?
No reason whatsoever, because they're fucking idiots. Imagine if Eichel had just signed for like 5 years or something, and like say he was due to become an RFA like at the end of this year or something. He'd be able to get more money than he's earning now, and he'd be able to force through a trade because he'd just say, I'm not fucking signing.
Do you know what? That's an amazing point. Yeah, if he'd have signed for 5 years, oh my God, yeah, If he'd have signed for 5, he must be thinking that if I'd have only signed for 5 years, there'd be a light at the end of the tunnel for me now.
Yeah, no, he's got fucking 8, and it's not getting any better.
What's exactly the same? He started out on a bad team, and they're still a bad team. Another pop quiz question: do you know how many forwards they've got signed for next season at the moment?
I didn't, but I've literally just opened their cap-friendly page, so I can tell you it's 4.
Oh, you swine.
Sorry. Oh, it wasn't deliberate. I didn't have a moment of clairvoyance and think, I'm going to lead cap-friendly here.
Just so you know, people, the answer's 4. They've got 4 forwards signed for next season.
Fucking 4. How is Jeff Skinner making $9 million? How? What mental world are we living in? Are they going to have to pay Sam Reinhart? If I'm Sam Reinhart, I'm like, right, $9.5 million, please.
Yeah. If I'm any player on this team, I'm just saying, yeah, sorry, there's no way. I'll just hold out.
I can't take Jimmy VC is like, I'll take 10 million, please. Mate, the worst thing about how few players have signed for next year is they've only got 3 RFA forwards, and one of them is Kurt Lazar. Everybody's leaving.
Yeah, it's just rotten to the core from top to bottom. They need complete change of everything.
Get rid of it all.
I don't know.
I don't know how you do it though, because as soon as you do that, that's adding on another few years to when they're relevant again. Which is it?
Yeah, but then you see, look at the Oilers. Like we said, didn't we? Are they actually going to make it? And we were both kind of like, no, it's probably kind of like a mini rebuild where they're looking at maybe a year or two and then they're back in the game kind of thing. But they're right back in it now. So
they're in a fucking shit division. So
fair point. Yeah, fair point.
If the Sabres were in that division, we might be having a different conversation.
If only there was a Stanley Cup winning coach out there who needed a job.
Can't think of any.
I can't think of anybody.
Single one. Yeah, but
how about Shiro Bab's super team? How about that?
Are you trying to say this is Ralph Kruger's fault?
It's everyone's fault, Will. They need to fire the tea lady. They need to fire the fucking the ball boy.
The fucking merch kid. It's so sad as well because I'd like to see the Sabres do well. I want to see more of Jack Eichel.
Me too. Like I know it was referenced on 31 Thoughts, but they had amazing viewing figures again for the outdoor game. It's one of the few places in hockey that actually cares about hockey. Even if their team's not in the finals or in a major market, like in a major game, they're still like, no, we're watching the hockey, like we want to watch it. It's a great fan base. No one's going to give it to them, but they deserve success, or at least something.
I think they need to move the Sabres. This needs an intervention. The city of Buffalo is addicted to hockey, and it needs to stop. They're hurting themselves. They're hurting their loved ones. Because they keep supporting this fucking woeful franchise. God, mate.
Yeah, just look into the numbers, everybody. It makes a terrible viewing. Terrible viewing.
Do that while you're listening to Gloomy Sunday.
Do you know, Will, that they say that Gloomy Sunday is the worst song ever made in case of suicides? Did you also know that looking at Buffalo Sabres stat sheets is the worst known number crunching for suicides?
Is 9 out of 10 stats nerds have been known to consider ending it all.
Yeah.
The Sabres natural stat tree page has the Samaritans number at the bottom. Thank you very much.
Oh, very good. Since we spoke, there's been 2 Battle of Albertas. The first one, while some petulance, was kind of tame in a way because it saw Matthew Tkachuk ask to fight the $13 million man Zach Cassian, who said no at first. Cassian said, you sure I want to do this? You don't have to if you don't want to. It's fine. Kind of playing peacemaker, which was nice. Tkachuk asked again. Cassian said, alrighty. So they go at it. Afterwards, everyone just gives their side. There's seemingly a little bit of begrudging respect almost, and we move on. Seems like it was quashed. And then we move on to last Saturday, and it was not quashed in any way.
Back inside, Cam Talbot reaches back, and that is whistled down, and nobody is happy now as in came Gagne with a late poke, and look out as Talbot is into it, and he wants a piece of somebody back there.
Gagne's coming back at Giordano, and now Giordano's coming up too. This thing blew over in a hurry.
And Smith is coming up to center ice as this thing comes unglued.
And Bear in the high slot here fighting, looks like with Matthew Tkachuk.
It's Tkachuk and Bear, and they're trading them. Bear comes over the top of the right. Tkachuk comes back, and
Look at this, they're gonna
and
go.
Mike Smith are going to go at center ice. Talbot and Smith moving on both sides of this Battle of Alberta. This is unbelievable.
11 goals, penalty shot, goalie fight, giant brawl. Both teams had the same emergency goalie, which was the best thing ever. Absolutely amazing. And it appeared that the Oilers players were fired up because after the shootout loss a couple of days earlier, Dave Riddick obviously flipped his stick. Actually, first question. What do you think about the stick flip? You for it? You against it? What do you think?
Yeah, stick flip's fine. People need to fucking grow up. It's just a fucking stick flip. Leon Draisaitl, you get paid $8.5 million a year, you're one of the best forwards in the AHL, and you're fucking getting all upset over a stick flip.
Yeah, Riddick said, didn't he? Like, what am I supposed to do? Not celebrate? We won a game. I'm going to celebrate. I don't care. It's silly.
I got really upset because the board that goes around the stadium said Flames win after we lost. It's like, what do you want from me?
And then you see on Saturday night after Riddick got pulled, the Oilers bench was like falling over themselves to give him shit. It was amazing.
Mate.
It was the best.
That's something that tears me in two because that's great. Yeah, I absolutely love teams giving each other shit, but the reason they're giving him shit is because they got so fucking upset about something so
I know,
It's like, what is wrong with you, absolute children?
They got so upset because he throwed a piece of equipment in the air and it landed on the ice. That was it.
God's sake, like, I was celebrating like he won the Stanley Cup. Like, all right, go and have a go at Peter Skora. Fucking hell.
I don't mind though, but he didn't. I think if he won the Stanley Cup, he'd do a bit more than just skate off casually and throw a stick in the air. I imagine there'd be more like jumping up and down or hugging of teammates.
I hope if they ever do that, he does do that. Just flips the stick. He's like, yeah, nice.
He just skates off.
Cool.
Doesn't even stay out there for the parade or the celebration or anything.
Just fucking
Skates
goes.
off.
Like, yeah, I'm the fucking nuts. Whatever. I don't care.
So the brawl starts because Sam Gagner has a dig at a puck that was under Cam Talbot, and it kicked off. Ethan Bear and Matt Tkachuk go at it, and then Mike Smith skates to centre ice, and him and Cam Talbot go at it. Now, all right, it wasn't the best thing. It wasn't the best fight. I agree. It was over in 3 punches, and they both fell over. But dude, it's a goalie fight. Goalie fights are amazing.
I disagree, Dan. I wholeheartedly disagree. Oh. Why does Mike Smith want to fight Cam Talbot? What's he done?
Well, if you notice, after Gagner digs at the puck, 3 flames jumped on Sam Gagner immediately.
Okay, that's not Cam Talbot's problem.
The unwritten rule is meant to be it's not an odd man fight. It's 1-on-1. That's it. So I think he just thought, right, if this kick, because the first person to start hitting Sam Gagner was Cam Talbot.
Okay, yeah. How many times has Mike Smith done that to players in the crease? A million.
I'm not saying it's right, Will.
Precisely 1 million times.
I'm not saying it's right, but that's what happened. And he didn't skate to centre ice and go charging in there. He just stood there and like, all right, I'm just standing here, just in case. And then Cam Talbot came over and then it was on like Donkey Kong.
I just think the whole concept of a goalie fight is fucking dumb. Because it's like, specifically these two players that never have any interaction with each other in the game. Two non-contact players are like, right, we have to fight each other. Fucking why? For what? For what purpose? Will you have a really shit 3-punch fight, like you said, and then you fall over, and that's it? Who gives a shit? It's like the two GMs coming out there in sumo suits and having a little wrestle. Like, what does that?
Don't you fucking dare tell me if the two GMs came down to ice and started fighting, you wouldn't think it was the best thing you ever saw in your life.
That'd be much better.
Exactly. Exactly.
But my point being is, like, a hockey fight is meant to be born from, like, oh yeah, it's that passion of the game. You know, the tempers are really flaring down there. You know, it's when you're trading paint like these fuckers are for 60 minutes, then of course tempers are going to flare and blood's going to spill. If Mike Smith wanted to fight one of his D-men because he forgot his coverage, then yeah, I'd be fucking all for that. But there's a geezer that's 190 feet away from you. I'm going to fucking
Yeah, but the unwritten rule are you can't have an odd man fight. And there was 3 guys. It was a beatdown. It was a WWE style mugging. It was a beatdown, 3-on-1.
I'm not saying
that's not fair.
I'm not saying it wasn't a beatdown, but like,
and no, wait, right. And if Cam Talbot carries on in the fight, because the brawl had already started, it was already like, okay, this might end up into everyone's on. Mike Smith can't just stand there and leave his. I get it. It's so stupid. I get it. I do get what you're saying. It's crazy. Well, Mike Smith can't just stand there then and let his team be outnumbered, because then, like, you're a twat. You're just letting his teammates get outnumbered. That's terrible.
Well, if it really devolves into that, then yes. But the whole thing is, like, you're saying the good thing is that he stayed in the centre of ice. That just makes it even more staged. It's a staged fight, is what a goalie fight is, and that's what we're trying to avoid as a league, because they're fucking dumb.
I mean, you're talking to a wrestling fan. I love staged fights. They're my favourite kind of fights.
I'm trying to think of a good version.
There's a reason why you can't think of anything, Will.
Yeah, because there's nothing in this world that's as bad, dull, and stupid as a goalie fight.
It's one of those things. I completely agree with you, but it was amazing.
I
don't know why.
I don't know. I'd rather see any other fight. Like, I enjoy a good fight. But goalie fights are just so pointless.
It's mad though. It's mad. It was honestly over my entire timeline for maybe.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know, 50, 60 tweets was, oh my God, it's a goalie fight. Oh my God, goalie fight. Goalie fights sell. The NHL doesn't want to admit it, and the NHL won't say that they like it, but goalie fights sell tickets.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
And they really
it's insane. I agree. I've said before, you take fighting out of the game, all right, fucking I don't care, whatever, I don't give a shit. But when there's a good fight, I don't know, there's that dumb male part of my brain that just fucking loves it. And when it's a goalie fight, oh man. It's like that time I saw a pigeon fight a squirrel. My mind was just completely blown. It was the best thing I ever saw. That sounds
really fucking cool.
It was mental. It was like watching Godzilla fight Mothra, but on a much smaller scale. It was insane. It was like 5 minutes. I swear to God, I stopped my car and pulled over to the side of the road because I saw a squirrel fighting a pigeon.
Nice. That's good. I don't know what to say to that, Dan.
Do you know what the best thing was, as I said before, that both teams had the same emergency goalie after that?
Yeah,
and I was just thinking,
a weird one.
All right, these two goalies now have to fight because I want to see what's going to happen. This would have been complete chaos. And you know the best thing would have happened? You know, in a footy, when a goalie gets sent off and there's no sub-goalie and an outfield player has to go in goal because there has to be a goalie, what would they have done? I wanted maybe, I don't know, I wanted Dave Tippett to be like, yeah, I'm sorry, Leon. I mean, but you got to get the stuff on and get in goal. There's nothing we can do. We need a goalie.
This way you can play all your shifts with Connor. the disappointing thing with that is it wouldn't have been a skater that goes in. It should be like the goalie coach or something like that. Or
I know. But even
goal in fucking college or whatever.
They would have to do a call over the tannoy. It would have been that classic film thing. Has anybody here played in goal before? And some guy's like, yes, me. He just runs down. Right,
we need a goalie in here. It's an emergency.
I said this on Twitter, but it's the Chinese year of the rat. It's the NHL year of the goalie, for sure.
Year of the goalie.
It is. Goalie goals, goalie fights. Saves that completely changed the landscape of the game. I'm telling you, you're the goalie.
Something I really wanted to address about the Battles of Alberta here
Go on.
is the whole. You mentioned it off the top because it was in the first game. The whole Zach Cassian saying to Kachuk, "Oh, are you sure you want to do this? Oh, I appreciate you doing this," sort of thing. Everyone lauding Zach Cassian, saying, he said, he gave Matt Kachuk a minute to think about whether he wanted to fight him or not. What would have happened if Matt Kachuk had said, actually, nah, second thoughts, I don't want to fight you?
True.
Zach Cassian wouldn't have been like, oh yeah, fair enough, you don't have to, mate, you don't have to. He wouldn't have been in the scrum afterwards saying, yeah, mate, you shouldn't have to do that. It's not, the whole thing's sorted. He'd have fucking called him all names under the sun. He'd have probably sucker punched him. We'd probably be talking about Matt Kachuk having a fucking concussion from what Zach Cassian Todd Bertuzzi in him or something like that. It's just the most disingenuous thing for people, for A, Cassian to say it, and for B, people to be celebrating the fact that he said it when everybody knows it's not genuine.
I know. Yeah, I know. I completely agree. But still, what a game. 8-3, like I said. Goals, penalty shots, goalie fights. What a game. Fantastic.
Another one for the last game of the season. Fucking absolutely love it.
I know it's said plenty of times, but please, just playoffs. This, please.
Oh,
playoffs.
mate, I'll be all over that. All over that.
Oh, for sure. Okay. Dustin Byfuglien. Looks like that him and the Jets are working on a mutual contract termination that would result in Byfuglien forfeiting the $8 million he was going to make this season and the $6 million he would have made next season. He'd be put on unconditional waivers, at which point then he'd become a UFA. So a simple question to you, Will. Would you take Dustin Byfuglien right now?
No, not right now, because he admittedly hasn't skated all year.
Do you think he's topping 3 bills at the moment?
Oh, mate, without he tops 3 bills most off seasons. Jesus Christ!
I know he hovers around 3 in season.
Are you familiar with a man by the name of The Big Show?
Yes, I am.
I'd take a fly on him next season when we've got some proof of concept. But right now, absolutely not. Like, what's his? I just want to double check. Yeah, he's got a $7.6 million cap hit. That's a big fat no from me. But yeah, he's a good player though.
But
great player.
Yeah, if you had the room though, and you get him, sign him for to like sort of 2 years starting next year.
Cool. What get like the Avalanche or something like that?
Yeah, like if you've got the room to afford him for this season, and then you can sign him to a contract for next season, the season after. Dude, there's those teams that need good D-men. After he became a free agent, then that's what I meant. Would you sign him? Not try and trade for anything now.
Oh yeah, I definitely try and sign him. I don't know whether he'll bother signing a contract while he's unfit though.
I suppose, but then you want to get him as quickly as possible, don't you? In case someone else snatches him up. You don't want to You don't want to be the team that missed out on getting essentially Byfuglien kind of for free, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know whether he would sign a contract while he's unfit. I wonder if he'd almost want to get fit. I don't know, do like a PTO with someone or something like that. Prove that he's actually fit, and then maybe sign for like $2 million or something like that, rather than just taking the league minimum now. I think when he trains, in theory, he's going to be he'll be a better bottom pairing defenseman than a lot of players in the league.
What would you offer him? He becomes a free agent. He's got no team. What would be your offer?
1 year, $2 million base salary with performance bonuses. A bit like the Corey Perry contract.
I'd go 2 years.
Yeah, but I'm thinking from Byfuglien's point of view, he's probably not going to want to sign a multi-year deal.
I suppose
because it's hard.
He becomes it becomes a gun for hire, like Robin Lehner.
Well, yeah, or even just giving him that flexibility. Under the table, say it's a bit of an evergreen contract or whatever. We'll have you as long as you want to stay. But I don't know what's happened with the Jets this year, whether it's a personnel thing or whether he just doesn't want to play hockey anymore or whatever it might be. I just get the sense that he's not going to want to have done this to get out of a current contract that's only 2 years left to then jump straight back into a multi-year deal. So I reckon, yeah, offer him 1 year, 2.5, 3 base salary, and then performance bonuses based on whatever it might be. Basically, relying on him being somewhat close to what Byfuglien used to be to bump him up to 5 max.
It's going to be a while before we know, but fucking hell, did the Jets get dropped in the shit this season?
Yeah, cool, poor them. Unless it turns out that they've done something terrible to Big Buff.
I can't imagine it, though. He's like a god out there, isn't he? They love him.
Well, I don't know. Like, this is the thing. Nobody knows what's really gone on.
Plenty of teams interested, obviously. Plenty of teams already being sort of marked as, oh, he could go here, he could go there. Like Florida, Dale Talon said straight away, we're looking to add a veteran D-man to the core. We think it might help the might help the team.
Well,
No way.
Talon's the one who drafted him, isn't he? So
Yeah. And Joel Quenville is there, and they worked together before. Oh my God, wouldn't that be a massive coincidence?
And he loves to fish. Florida has water, and I'd imagine there's fish in there.
He loves to fish, and Florida has water. That's amazing.
But he's not going to go to Columbus, is he? He's not going to go to Nashville.
Oh, fair point.
There you go. There you go. Not going to go to the Arizona Coyotes, famous for playing in the desert, Dan, one of the driest areas in the world.
That's so true. Yeah, if like for Florida to get a Buffin, they should just take him out on like marlin fishing or something. Just like, look at this, look what you can do here. Forget the hockey, like look at the fishing we've got. It's amazing.
Yeah, between you and us, between you and I, Dustin, we're probably not going to make the playoffs anyway, so you can start fishing as early as April.
You'd have 3 months fishing. It's time for fishing season. You could do ice hockey season and fishing season every year. What's not to love?
Right, I'm liking the offer, but can you promise me we're not going to make the playoffs? Can you promise me?
And can you include some kind of fishing vessel? I need some kind of boat, please, in my contract.
Oh, mate, I drove past a massive boat on the back of a lorry on the way home today. Massive old thing.
Boats are the worst.
Oh,
Boats are the
I
worst.
hate that. I'd say it's probably the only true phobia I've got is big boats, and specifically being in the water with them.
Oh, I don't mind that. I just meant if you owned one, it would be the worst.
Oh no. Yeah, I wouldn't. Yeah, what's the old saying? It's better to have a friend with a boat than own a boat or whatever it is.
Exactly. So you've been on a ferry then?
Oh yeah, I don't mind being on them. Really, it's the idea of being at the bottom of one, if that makes any sense.
You spent the whole time crying.
No, it's like I'd be more freaked out being on the dock standing next to one than being on a boat, if that makes sense.
Kind of, but also kind of no.
It's like the sight.
But it's your phobia, so that's fine. I'm not going to judge.
Imagine being in the sea, swimming in the sea on your Todd, and you're next to a big freighter.
That's such a weird scenario. What's happened where you're in the sea and a fucking a cruise ship's coming past you, and you're like, oh shit!
It's not. It's just the sort of thing that makes my skin crawl. I'd hate it. I would absolutely hate it.
That's unbelievable. All right.
Absolutely unbelievable, Jeff.
Quick little things to finish off. Shout out Stephen Johns, first NHL goal in God knows how long.
In front of his mum and
Good
dad.
for you. Yep, and you know what? I only noticed that because you shouted him out on the show, and I was like, oh hey, the system works. Will told me about this on the show, and I now noticed this, and it was nice. And his post game interview was really sweet as well.
Yeah, I still haven't watched it, but apparently it's really, really emotional, really nice.
It was nice. And then finally, last time we discussed the NHL team of the decade, and we chose a couple of goalies that we thought might get in. Neither of us thought to pick Marc-Andre Fleury,
mate,
because why would you?
Yeah. A goalie,
that was insane.
A goalie who lost his starting job and was a backup for one of his Stanley Cup wins this decade. Yeah, definitely goalie of the decade. I forget what the rest of it was. We were pretty accurate with the rest of it, weren't we? Because it was fairly predictable. Mate,
Doughty and Keith.
That's disgraceful. How can you have Drew Doughty over Erik Karlsson? How?
I told you why.
Fucking 200 hockey men. Jesus Christ.
And then the second team was Stamkos, Malkin, Bergeron, Chara, Carlson, and Lundqvist. Yeah, for the second team. Yeah,
mate. I mean, all due respect to Zdeno Chara, I don't know about that one, Chief.
I picked Chara in my second team. I thought he deserved it.
I said he's not been elite for 5 years though.
You know, he captained the losing Stanley Cup final team last season.
Yeah,
what?
So he's not their
7 months ago.
He's not their number one D man. Doesn't mean he's fucking incredible, does it? Kimmo Timonen won a Stanley Cup. Doesn't mean he's a number one defender.
3-time Stanley Cup finals captain. He's alright, I suppose. Not that good.
So, what does having a C on your chest mean for making you one of the best players in the world? Absolutely.
Dude, he's shut down defenseman. Like ask any player will tell you he is terrifying to play against, and he's very hard to. It's like damn near impossible to play
Yeah,
against.
he's very good. I'm not saying he's fucking shit. I'm just saying he's not one of the 4 best defensemen of the entire decade.
Who would you have gone with?
John
So
Klingberg.
Doughty, Carlson, Keith, and Chara. To me, that was like obvious. It was those 4. That's the 4 I
I'd
thought.
have gone for Essa Lindell, John Klingberg, Miro Heiskanen, and probably Stephen Johns now that he's back.
Exactly.
I'd have gone Keith, Carlson. Yeah, second team's hard. What? Victor Hedman?
No,
What do you mean no?
I mean the opposite of yes.
Nah.
No.
Yeah, I think
I
I'd
see.
have probably had Doughty on my second team. Probably.
Like I said, I would have personally. I picked Carlson, but I totally get why the NHL and everyone else would have picked Doughty. He won
definitely.
2 cups for fuck's sake. He was very good. He was very good. Don't get me wrong.
What about Brent Burns? There you go.
Was it Drew Doughty that said that Brent Burns can't defend?
Yeah, so Drew Doughty says a lot of stuff.
Fair point.
What about Ryan Suter? I'd probably have Ryan Suter over. No, I don't know.
If you're even partially serious about that, our friendship is over.
Hey, I don't know. Ryan Suter's better now than Chara is now.
All right, we're never going to get anywhere with this, but you're crazy.
What about Nate Schmidt? I don't know.
See, this proves my point. This proves my
spitballing.
point.
All I'm saying is that Chara hasn't been elite since 2016.
Yeah, but neither's Duncan Keith.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yes, I would want.
Yeah, it's a problem with defensemen. Like, they're all fucking shit is the thing, isn't it?
Who cares about defensemen anyway? It's all about the goals, baby.
Never see a D-man leading the league in scoring, do you?
Exactly.
That's why.
Hang on. Never mind.
If being
Let's
a
move on.
D-man was cool, Conor McDavid would be a D-man.
Last thing, man versus 8-year-old.
Hey, Will, you schmuck. You're going to get roasted by an 8-year-old, you fool.
You did pull back another point, Will.
Oh, would you like that?
So only down by 8 now, but you are running out of runway, as they say. There's not long. If you kind of need more than a point a week at the moment. So
That's right. I just need my
Let's hope
runway
this
to be 2 feet longer than the plane is, and I'll be all right.
it's a good point. That's a good point. All right, this week's games: Lightning Penguins,
Lightning are on absolute tear.
Oilers. This is the Penguins who are second in the Metro, by the way. I'm just
Yes, this is the Lightning that are like 16-4-1 in their last 21 games. So doing my best Brett Ritchie impression there.
well done. Oilers Sharks.
Oilers.
Yeah, you got to pick the Oilers there. Sharks are just.
Yeah,
God, before we forget. Oh, go on.
but it's still the Oilers. I don't care how many players the Sharks are missing. Like, it's still the Oilers.
Still the Oilers. Actually, yeah, I'll save that. I was going to say for next time. Doesn't matter. Devils Kings.
Oh, Jesus. Kings. Yeah, why not?
Vegas Hurricanes.
Hurricanes.
Both teams fighting for their playoff spot at the moment.
Jeez Louise.
That's a tricky one.
Two very good teams.
And then Canadians Leafs.
Leafs. I've got faith in Jack Campbell.
Shout out to Dyson's Fair. Ken Dyson pointed out that might be the game of the haves versus the have-nots, as they'd have you believe. The rich versus poor, good versus evil.
It depends on who you decide to be good and who you decide to be evil. That's the big question, isn't it?
That's always the big question. There we go, everybody. Thank you for listening. Will, any last words?
Whoever is out there listening that is able to cure the most annoying cough in all of the 7 seas, please do get in touch.
There we go. Take care, folks. We'll talk to you later.
Peace.